Or what are you thinking? And what are you concerned about? And I say that because in my own fieldwork of spending time with people around the state, I've had the luxury of doing that, right? I have this great job that allows me to drive around and invite myself into conversations and spend time with people. Most people don't have that luxury. It's not in most people's job description to walk around and drive around and have coffee with people in gas stations, right? But I do know how great it feels to actually take the time and sit across from somebody and say, tell me what your big concerns are, and to have them, the light bulb go on in their eyes that, oh, she really is here to listen to me, right? It's very meaningful to people when we reach out and say, I just want to learn from you. I just want to know what you're thinking. The part that I struggle with is listening to folks. You are conveying respect when you do that, which I think is really important and really valuable. But there's a lot of concern these days that if I stop and pause and listen to perspectives that I find just morally reprehensive, am I conveying respect? I think it's a great question, but I think the morally reprehensible parts of the views of ordinary people are getting a lot of attention, and the rest of their views that are very similar to what we all experience are getting less attention. By that I mean there's humanity to everybody, and there can be some reprehensible parts too, right? So I think I very much advocating trying to listen to folks. I very much advocate listening to folks face to face, because I think there's something about what kind of going to a person or a group of people conveys in terms of respect and just your sincerity in wanting to hear what they have to say. But I want to share one thing that we may come back around to in the conversation. One thing that's happened to me since the election is I've had just an amazing amount of correspondence from people I've never met who said, I read your book, I heard you talk, I saw you do this, and they just sort of open up to me and tell me what they're thinking, and it's been fabulous and fascinating and eye-opening. And a lot of times what I get is people's stories about what's going on in their own lives or what they're trying to do to try to heal our democracy. And one of the things I've learned about is an effort that's being done through social media. So I'm talking about face-to-face interaction being really important, but I think we can't forget the power of social media, right? And so there's this effort called Love Wisconsin. It's this fabulous kind of Facebook-oriented effort that is about Wisconsin. It's about telling the stories of people of Wisconsin in a way to bring them together into conversation so that we can be not quite so divisive. And I want to just point out to you that Jet Waller is one of the founders of this awesome effort, and she's sitting here in the front row. So, yeah. Catch her afterward if you're interested. I don't know much about social media metrics, but I know that this effort has gotten a lot of attention. They have over 500,000 people a month looking at their stories. Facebook has recognized them as in the top 5% of all Facebook pages globally in terms of engagement, which means not just clicking and putting in the URL, but actually engaging with the content. So there are a lot of things that are taking place right now that are positive in terms of getting people to talk to one another across what we traditionally call divides. But I too am interested in the conversation more than hearing myself speak. So I'm going to pass it on to Scott. But it's great to be with you all today.
Wow. So I'm honored to be in the room with these two people. And many of you who know me, if you want to get into cognitive framing and the science of it and that kind of thing, I have a session after this all by myself. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that, because what Mike and Kathy, the brilliance of their work has pointed out something that we have all missed over the last 30 years. And that is that we all share something in common. And it just doesn't get talked about enough, and that's our values. And when I talk about values, I'm not talking about you care about public education, or you care about health care for all, or you care about women's health, or you care about whatever it is. Those are all issues, okay? When I'm talking about values, I'm talking about who you really are at your core. And the brilliance of what Kathy has done is it's pointed out to us, not that as progressives, we don't have a rural white man problem. We have a problem with connecting with people. And this election just started to bridge the gap, showing that this whole urban-rural divide is something that we've all contributed to create. So before we get to discussion, I want to make 2 points and then we'll open it up. The first one is, I'm going to challenge each of you right now for the next week to not post anything negative about a Republican on any of your social media pages. Now you're all laughing, but I'm dead serious about this. Because the people that voted for Donald Trump, they're not mean, greedy, and stupid. They're human beings, and they have needs, and they have values, and they have things that they care about. Guess what? It's your fault that you're not connecting with them. So that's a challenge. Okay? The second thing is, from research, we know what is an effective way to reach people. If you want to connect with someone, really reach them and inspire them, like Martin Luther King did when he said, "I have a dream." Okay? Notice he said, "I have a dream," not "I have a plan." Okay? Almost everyone in this room, and people who aren't in this room, who are maybe at a conservative conference or something like that, a lot of you have the same dreams. You just want a better life for yourself and your family. So the way to connect with people is twofold. First of all, talk about your values and beliefs. Talk about the things you care about from your heart. And again, not issues. Okay? The second thing is, give them something positive to believe in. Because if you give people a positive vision to believe in, like Donald Trump did, you will inspire and motivate people. Guess what happens when you go negative? Exactly. Okay? You push people away. So what does that say about our current state of political communications? So a couple challenges for you before we open it up is just acknowledge that the work that these two people are doing is telling us we all have common connections. We all have things we care about. And then find ways to connect with people. Find somebody in your community who voted for Donald Trump and start talking to them about what democracy really means to them. Talk to them about what freedom means and what a prosperous community looks like. Don't go up to them and say, "Hi, I'm a Democrat." Right? Or don't say, "Hi, I want to talk to you about gun control." Okay? Talk about things that you have in common and start building relationships. Okay? That's how we overcome hatred and fear. So with that, we'll open it up for questions, and I'm just thrilled to be here.